Joining me today is John Davis from MotorWeek. And John, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you, Pat. Delighted to be here.
All right. Now, in the news has been this big fine for the Chrysler Jeep
Fiat organization.
Yeah.
$105 million by the Department of Transportation, basically saying that in the recall that involved Ram trucks and some other heavier duty vehicles, meaning pickup trucks and SUVs, that had some rust problems, and also the Jeep Grand Cherokees and other Jeeps that had the gas tank issue, they did not do enough in getting the vehicles into the dealership to be repaired. They recalled them, but they didn't basically physically go out there and drag the people in and force people to get them repaired. And I think it's $105 million is a lot of money. I've seen estimates this would cost Chrysler $1 billion. That's still not as big as maybe some recalls, but it's the attitude of the government that has changed, and going forward, what this could mean to the car companies.
Well, my take on this is that the government got chastised for being lackluster about the GM ignition switch
and the Toyota situation.
Right. So this is a knee-jerk overreaction to what they failed to do earlier.
I think so, but I think if you really stand back and analyze this, I think what they're signaling to the states as well as the car companies is we've got to have some kind of program in place where when there are recalls, all stops are taken to get people to bring the vehicles in. Now, we're talking mostly about safety recalls here, not necessarily for things like peeling paint, but things that basically not only can make the vehicle unsafe to drive now, but when you sell the vehicle, the next owner, who may not be able to get notified because some of the databases aren't very good, could be driving around with something unsafe. I think they're saying, if you can't do it, if this program that they're doing with Chrysler, and they may expand it obviously to other car makers, if that doesn't work, then it sets them up to say, okay, we've got to force states to do something to maybe you won't be able to get the vehicle re-registered when it's sold unless it's got all the safety recalls done. There's a long-range plan here, I think, by the federal government.
Well, let's hope so.
Yeah.
But right now, what do you think that the general public can take from this? What have we done to help the average driver?
I'm not so sure. If I had one of these older Dodge Rams or a Durango, and I think some Chrysler Aspens, and I had rust problems that were affecting my steering or my rear suspension, if I knew I had that recall, I'd be in there like a shot. I can't imagine you not getting it fixed. Now I'm going to be given some financial incentive. If I take it into my dealer, they're going to offer me wholesale price and a little bit more on a trade-in. I don't know.
Well, but the other side of that is a lot of people are looking at this like, oh, my lucky day, I'm going to get rich off of this.
I'm going to get an all-new vehicle. That's not what's going to happen.
No.
My understanding is if you have had the vehicle already repaired under the recall, and that's about 60% of this $500,000, you don't get anything. You're done. Yeah, so it's only that 200,000 or so vehicles that have been owners have been laggard about taking them in, and they'll be offered something for the vehicle, but probably not going to be enough to replace that vehicle. So maybe the dealer, the theory is once you get them in to talk about it, you can convince them to at least get the recall done. I don't know.
Well, let's hope so. Now,
yeah.
I have to tell you that here in the shop, we check every car for outstanding recalls.
You should.
And
every technician should.
Right. And we give this information to the client.
Because sometimes they don't get the letters, or they think it's junk mail and they throw it away, or who knows.
Yeah, but the reaction, sometimes we actually get an insult. What are we doing prying into their business?
Oh.
Or what do I care?
The whole privacy bit.
Yeah. What do I care if my car has a recall? They don't mean anything anyway. And it's really shocking to hear the comments from some of these people.
Once upon a time, I think we all sort of looked at some of the recalls we got and thought, oh, it's a paint chip, it's this, it's that, it's a minor thing. We're talking about safety recalls that can get you killed. And I don't always agree with what the action promoted by the government and taken by the car companies. For instance, to me, putting a trailer hitch on the back of an old Jeep to kind of cut down on the chances of the fuel tank bursting in a rear-end collision, that just doesn't make sense to me.
It's almost ludicrous.
I mean, because the energy still has to go somewhere. But they say that at least, I guess, it gets it up to another standard. So, okay, let's say that works. A lot of owners will say, that's ludicrous, just what you said. I'm not going to bother. Well, now at least if you've got an older Jeep and you take it in, they're going to do something financially to make sure you get it fixed. I haven't quite figured out what it is yet. We're going to install the trailer hitch, but they're going to somehow make it worth your while.
Well, I think the big thing is for everybody who receives a recall, first of all, you should be checking periodically safercar.gov.
Right.
And
put your VIN number in, you'll get all the information on your vehicle.
And you can also do that at Carfax.
Yep.
They have a very good database as well. You should be doing that once a month because these things are updated monthly. And if you get the recall, you know you have a recall, take it into the dealer, at least find out what's going on.
And the other thing is when you take your car into a dealer, say you're during the warranty period, a lot of these things crop up when cars are relatively new. Make sure the service writer has done a check. Say, please tell me, are there any recalls on my vehicle? Even if you haven't got something in the mail, do that when you change the oil.
Yeah, exactly. And that would help a lot. John, I thank you.
You're welcome, Pat. Always a pleasure.
Okay.
And be sure to catch me and Pat on MotorWeek every week on your local public television station and also on Velocity.
And if you have questions or comments, drop me a line at radio@goss-garage.com.